They lied. They told me Christmas was canceled, just so I wouldn't show up. I still remember hearing those words from my sister's voice on the phone. Casual, almost rehearsed. Mom and Dad decided to cancel Christmas this year. They thought it would be simpler. I'm sorry. Simpler? Canceling Christmas? After I planned everything? Picked the tree? Wrapped the gifts? Booked the overnight train home? My chest tightened. My heart did that hollow thump-thump like it was trying to escape. I looked at the calendar. December 24th, Christmas Eve. My carefully packed bag on the floor, the presents under my bed, waiting for the tree in their living room. A letter I wrote Dad, long, heartfelt, about memory and wonder. Gone. It felt like the ground had opened up and swallowed me whole, and all because I showed ambition once, because I moved 2 states away for a promotion, because I thought going home for Christmas still mattered, even if it wasn't the same, even with all the distance between us now. They'd stopped hiding later phone calls, cheeky, not-so-subtle digs about how I was never there when it counted. I was a joke to them, a ghost, someone who only reappeared when they wanted something. So when I called to wish them Merry Christmas and my sister answered with that line about canceled plans, I already knew. They didn't want me. I was standing in the kitchen, the oven timer dinging quietly in the background. I dropped the dish towel onto the counter and stared at the blinking red digits. They mocked me, because this wasn't my first Christmas away. I'd done it willingly the past 2 years. I told myself it was okay. Work was busy. I could video call. We'd visit in New Year. But none of that filled the emptiness. They let me finger over the date on my calendar, 25th, circled in red. But now it meant nothing. And then the text started. Mom, we really wanted to keep things small. Hope you understand. Dad, maybe next year. Love you. Sister, I'm so sorry, but we need this. They apologized for the inconvenience, as if I'd ordered the holiday and they were just confirming delivery. I went quiet. My breath hitched. I imagined them sitting around the big tree in the living room, Dad laughing, Mom pouring wine, my sister opening her gifts, knowing I'd flown across states to be there, only to be told it didn't matter. They'd lied. I didn't cry then, not in front of the heat, but I felt tears simmer behind my ribcage, like a pot about to boil over. Something in me snapped. When you grow up, you imagine your family will catch you if you fall. But my family let me fall, deliberately. And for what? To avoid conflict? To keep the peace? To pretend I didn't change? They didn't deserve my tears. It wasn't just the lie. It was the pattern. I thought about the presents I packed. Hand-picked ornaments for Mom, Dad's favorite whiskey, thoughtful gifts for my nephew. I remembered staying up late wrapping each carefully, imagining their faces. I pictured the holiday card I had framed for them, me in front of my new house, smiling awkwardly with my partner, all sunshine and hope. I pictured them, and I pictured their voices. They canceled Christmas. Simpler this year. Maybe next time. The lie stung because it was rehearsed, polite, not a raised eyebrow, not a stuttering apology, just a smooth, practiced line, as if no harm was done. They didn't want me there, but they didn't want to start an argument, so they hid it behind courtesy. I shoved the oven mitt aside and stared out the window into the winter night. Snow started drifting down, big, lazy flakes, like pity. I didn't know what to do next. I thought about calling them back, screaming, crying, telling them how much it hurt, but something felt off. I didn't want a breakdown. I wanted action. Instead, I shut off the oven, pulled my coat on, packed the presents back into their bags, unwrote Dad's heartfelt letter. Then, I walked out into the night. It was Christmas Eve, and my hometown felt like a lie. Decorated houses, silver tinsel around light posts, carolers on the corner. But none of it was real to me anymore. I kept walking, tears freezing on my cheeks. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I needed to move. And that's when my phone buzzed. Mom, please, we need to talk. I stared at it. My thumb hovered. I didn't reply, because when they lied to me, when they made me unworthy of their holiday, something in me redefined the line. I wanted to face them, to confront them, but I also wanted them to feel the weight of what they'd done. So I walked past their street, past the lights, past the houses I'd once belonged to, and ended up at the park, empty, silent, snow-dusted. I sat on a bench, the cold seeping through my coat. I thought about the morning, the giftless morning, the silence in the house, and I started to write. On my phone, rough notes. They lied to me. They didn't want me at Christmas. They think it's simpler this way. I won't run. I'll go back tomorrow. I'll meet them. I'll ask for answers. I'll figure out why. I hit save, and I walked home. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the dark with nothing but the hum of the refrigerator and the occasional crackle of the baseboard heater. I kept replaying the conversation in my head. My sister's voice, too calm. The pause when I asked, "Wait, Christmas is canceled?" She had hesitated, just for a second, but I caught it. That pause told me everything. They'd planned it, they'd talked about it, decided it, lied, and made sure I wouldn't show up. I opened my phone again. Their texts sat there, lined up like little landmines. "We thought you'd be too tired to travel. We didn't want to put pressure on you. This year has been hard for all of us. You work so much. We figured a quiet holiday would be better. It wasn't meant to be personal. We just needed space." I stared at the words "we" and "quiet" and "space." They were code for "we didn't want you around." And I couldn't stop wondering why. What had I done that was so awful they'd rather cancel the entire holiday than share it with me? I wasn't perfect. Sure, I worked a lot. I didn't call every week, but I'd always shown up when it mattered. I remembered birthdays, sent gifts, checked in when someone was sick. I even helped pay a few bills last year when things got tight, and Emily, the golden child, couldn't contribute a dime. So why lie? The thought chewed through me, that maybe they didn't just want a smaller Christmas, maybe they wanted a better one without me. By morning, I'd made my decision. I would go, not to crash the party or make a scene, but to find out what the hell was really going on. If they truly canceled it, I'd find an empty house. But if I was right, if the lie was a cover for something else, I wanted to see it for myself. So I packed. The same bag I'd packed 2 days before, only this time, no holiday card, no sentimental note for Dad, no camera to capture family smiles. Just clothes, cold weather gear, my keys. I drove for hours. The highway was mostly clear, save for a few cars hauling Christmas trees and bags of wrapping paper. I kept the radio low, just enough to drown out the noise in my own head. The closer I got to home, the tighter my chest felt. I knew what I hoped. I hoped I was wrong. I hoped they really were sitting in silence, maybe watching movies, maybe nursing the flu. I hoped I'd knock, they'd open the door with surprised eyes, and everything would fall into place. But I knew better. When I pulled onto their street, I saw the cars. 3 of them. My uncle's silver truck, my cousin's Subaru, my sister's boyfriend's Jeep. And then I saw it, the glow. Warm yellow light spilling from the windows, flickers of a Christmas tree in the living room, shadows of people moving behind the curtains. Laughter. Not silence. Not grief. Laughter. I parked half a block away. Sat there, just breathing. They lied. They lied. They didn't cancel anything. They just canceled me. I didn't go to the door right away. I waited. Watched. People came in and out. With pies, presents, wine. My cousin's kid ran down the walkway with a candy cane, her coat unzipped and flapping like wings. They were celebrating, without me. After 30 minutes, I got out of the car. Walked slowly, snow crunched under my boots. I kept my fists clenched in my pockets, holding in the rage, the shame, the sting. When I got to the door, I didn't. She froze. Her eyes went wide, her mouth opened slightly. She looked like she saw a ghost. You're here." "Yeah," I said. "Guess Christmas wasn't canceled after all." She stammered. "It's not what it looks like." "Really?" I tilted my head. "Because from the street, it looks a lot like a family party I wasn't invited to." She didn't respond. Inside, I could hear my mom's voice. "Who is it, Em?" My sister stepped aside, and I walked in. The room fell quiet. People froze. Some held plates. Some stood mid-conversation. My parents were on the couch, Mom holding a mug of cocoa, Dad wearing that hideous sweater he breaks out every December. They both stared at me like I'd materialized out of thin air. My mom stood slowly. "Honey." "Save it," I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. They deserve to hear it. "You told me Christmas was canceled. You all lied. You didn't even give me the decency of telling me the truth." My dad set down his drink. "We thought it would be easier this way." "For who?" I snapped. "For you? For her?" I pointed at Emily. "Because you didn't want the trouble of dealing with your oldest daughter who moved away, who got a job, who sends money but never complains." My uncle cleared his throat awkwardly. My cousin looked away. "Did you all know?" I asked, scanning the room. "Did you all go along with it?" No one answered. Just guilty eyes. "I left work early," I said, my voice breaking. "I spent hours picking out gifts, writing cards, planning things I thought would make you happy, and you all sat here pretending I didn't exist." My mom whispered, "We made a mistake." "No," I said, "you made a choice." And I walked out. I didn't wait for anyone to stop me. No one did. I drove straight home. Didn't cry on the way. Didn't scream. Just drove. When I got in, I locked the door, pulled the curtains, and sat down on the floor next to my untouched Christmas tree. And then I cried. Not just for this Christmas, but for every moment I'd let them treat me like I didn't matter. For every time I said, "It's okay," when it wasn't. For every dinner I skipped, every overtime shift I took, every birthday I spent alone because family comes first. They never picked me, but I always picked them. And that was over. A few days passed before anyone tried to reach me. No texts, no missed calls, just silence. I think they were waiting to see what I would do, waiting for the storm to pass so things could go back to normal. But I wasn't going back, not this time. Then, on December 28th, a letter arrived. Handwritten, no return address. I opened it with shaking fingers. It was from my mom. She said she didn't know how to call, that every word she tried to type sounded hollow, that she hadn't realized how badly they'd hurt. "You looked like a stranger," she wrote. "Not because you were different, but because we were. We made you feel like you didn't belong, and that's something I will regret for the rest of my life." She wrote that it was her idea to tell me Christmas was canceled, that she was the one who suggested the lie. She said she was afraid that having me there would cause tension, that Emily had been fragile lately, and she didn't want any fights, that it seemed easier to just let things be quiet. But what she really meant was, easier to not include me. She admitted that she'd been jealous too, that my independence made her feel like I didn't need them anymore, that my distance, my work, my life made them feel small, and so they pushed me away. Before I could do it to them, she ended the letter with, "I hope one day you'll forgive us, but more than that, I hope one day we'll deserve it." I put the letter down and stared out the window. Snow was falling again, soft and slow, and I didn't feel angry. I just felt tired. That kind of bone-deep tired that comes after carrying the weight of a family that never truly held you back. I didn't reply right away. Instead, I started doing something I hadn't done in years. I took care of myself. I started going on walks again. I lit candles for no reason. I watched old movies without guilt. I opened the presents I had wrapped and kept them for myself. The whiskey I'd bought for Dad? I poured myself a glass. The ornament I got for Mom? I hung it on my tree. The framed photo I meant to give to the whole family, of us laughing around the fire from a few years back? I took it out of the frame, slid it into a drawer, and replaced it with one of me and my dog at the lake. Something that didn't lie. Something real. New Year's Eve came. Still no calls. I thought about calling. I did. My thumb hovered over the screen for a while, but I couldn't bring myself to dial, because the truth was, I wasn't ready to hear their voices. Not yet. So I made my own New Year's toast. I stood on my porch with a mug of something hot, the night crisp around me, fireworks going off in the distance, and I whispered to myself, "This year, I come first." It wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about punishing them. It was about healing the part of me that had always been willing to be forgotten. A week into January, I got a text from my cousin. She said she'd seen everything go down at Christmas, that she didn't know what to do, that she felt awful, that she wished she had said something when I walked in. "I should have had your back," she wrote. "You didn't deserve that." It was the first time anyone outside the core of my family acknowledged the lie. I thanked her, and I told her the truth, that it wasn't just that one night. It was years of being overlooked, years of pretending I was okay with being the afterthought. She said, "You were never the afterthought to me." And for the first time in weeks, I smiled. In February, Mom called. I let it go to voicemail. She said she was sorry again, said she and Dad were going to therapy, said they were trying to understand where they went wrong. I listened to it once, then again, then I deleted it. Because apologies are only the beginning. They don't erase the whole. They don't fill the seat at the table that went empty while they smiled around it. They don't give back the Christmas that was mine. But I started writing again, not letters to them, but to myself. I wrote out the story of that Christmas, the lie, the car ride, the silence, the confrontation. I wrote it all, and when I was done, I didn't feel bitter. I felt clear, like for the first time, I had taken the story back from them, owned it, rewritten it. Because the truth is, Christmas wasn't canceled. It was reborn, not around a tree or in the warmth of a house I used to call home, but inside me, in the part of me that finally said, enough. Enough waiting, enough shrinking, enough forgiving people who don't ask for forgiveness, just permission to hurt you again. That was the real gift. That was the moment I finally stepped into my own life without needing anyone else to approve of it. So this year, I'm doing something different. I booked a solo trip, a snowy mountain lodge, a fireplace, a stack of books, maybe a new friend or two, maybe not. No obligations, no guilt, no faking joy in rooms where I'm not truly wanted. Just peace, just presence, just me. If my family calls, I might answer. If they send a gift, I might open it. But I'm not waiting anymore, because I've spent too many holidays hoping someone else would choose me. Now, I choose myself. Subscribe for more dark, faceless storytelling. Have you ever realized you were the only one holding your family together, only to watch them let you fall?